So the next class of diuretics, the drugs acting on site, they are also called as site 2 diuretics. As this site 2 is present in the ascending loop of Henle, so the diuretics which act on ascending loop of Henle, hence they are also called as loop diuretics. Next one, as we observe, out of all the site 1, site 2, site 3, site 4 diuretics, this site 2 diuretics is responsible for 2 chloride sodium, okay, sodium and potassium. So this sodium potassium 2 chloride symporter or co-transporter, it is present on ascending loop of Henle. So this site 2 diuretics is responsible to inhibit this co-transporter, and when they inhibit this co-transporter, there is no reabsorption of 2 chloride ions and one sodium ion, one potassium. So total 4 ions they will retain into the urine and they are excreted through the urine. Okay. Hence, this side 2 diuretics they are responsible to excrete 2 chlorides, one sodium, one potassium. It is much more than any other side diuretics. So they are also called as high ceiling diuretics. They are having the higher activity or highest activity as compared to the other diuretics. Hence, they are called as high ceiling diuretics. Okay, so these two diuretics they are responsible to inhibit the sodium potassium 2 chloride co-transporter in the ascending loop of Henle. Hence, it is a full called as high ceiling diuretics as it is more effective than any other diuretics. It decreases the reabsorption of single sodium, single potassium, and 2 chloride ions from the tubules. So you can see here these how the mechanism of action of loop diuretics are present. Okay, so this is 2 chloride potassium chloride ions, that is the co-transporter, and this co-transporter is inhibited by these loop diuretics such as furosemide, and due to inhibition of these co-transporter, the reabsorption of these ions inhibited, hence more amount of ions they are excreted through the urine, hence they are the high ceiling diuretics. These high ceiling diuretics, loop 2 diuretics, they are classified to two types. One depending upon their structure. One is sulfamyl anthonylic acid like diuretics. Second one, phenoxyacetic acid diuretics. So depending upon the structures which they are present, they are classified to these two types. Drug furosemide, azosamide, bupetanide, they comes under the sulfamide anthonic acid like diuretics, and drug ethacranic acid is the example of phenoxyacetic acid diuretics. Okay, so this is the structure of furosemide. They are comes under the class that is the 5-sulfamyl anthonylic acid. So 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, and this sulfamyl is present at the fifth position. So it is called as 5-sulfamide, and this is benzene ring along with the NH2 and COH. It is called as anthonylic acid. So it is called as 5-sulfamyl anthonylic acid. And if you just observe the structure of furosemide, is consist of this part, that is the anthonylic acid like derivatives, as well as the sulfamyl part is also there. So these are the derivatives of 5-sulfamyl anthonylic acid. So furosemide is an example of high ceiling diuretics, and it is the derivative of anthonylic acid or orthoamino benzoic acid. Now, same 5 alpha, 5 sulfamyl anthracyclic acid is present. So at the first position, COH is present, and at the second position, amine group or substituted amine is present. Here in the second structure, there is no amine group or substituted amine group at second position, but at the third position, there is a presence of amine group. So these drugs, they are also called as, these are called as 5-sulfamyl anthracyclic acid derivatives, and these are called as 5-sulfamyl 3 amino. So amine group is present at this position. So 3 amino benzoic acid derivative. So that is the difference between these two. So the some drugs they having this type of structure, and in some drugs they having this type of structure. Both are responsible to give better activity. Now next part, that is the structural activity relation, that is the SAR for these side 2 diuretics, generally the 5-sulfamyl 2 or 3 amino benzoic acid derivatives. In some structure, the amine group is present at the second position. In some structure, the amine group is present at the third position. So the first point in the SAR is that at the first position there must be presence of COH group, that is the carboxylic acid. This carboxylic acid, if it is present at the first position, they are responsible for optimum diuretic activity. If we have removing this COH group, it will decreases the activity. But sometimes other groups such as tetrazole, it may be also shows respectable diuretic activity, so that they can show some kind of diuretic activity. But if we are replacing COH with any alkyl group or any other group, it will decrease the activity, or it will diminishes the activity. Next part, at the fifth position, there is a presence of sulfamyl moiety. So this sulfamyl moiety is necessary for the activity. Next part in that, this sulfamyl, it must be unsubstituted. So the NH2 which is present in sulfamyl, that is this NH2 part, this part must be NH2. There should be no any substitutions like NHCH3 or NCH3CH3. Such substitutions should not be there to show the maximum activity. Then the third part is that at the fourth position, that is here X is given, at the fourth position there must be presence of a group such as halogens or trifluoromethane, phenoxy, alkoxy, anilino, benzyl group. Such groups can be present at the fourth position, which can give the optimum activity. Now, the important part between these two structure is that the presence of amine group. In one structure, it is present at the second position here, and in second one, it is present at the third position. So when there is a changes of the position of amine group, it will retain the optimum or maximum activity. So substitution that present on this position, it can be tolerated at 2 amino group of 5-sulfamyl is extremely limited. So here there are only few substitutions which can be substituted instead of these are. So which are the substitutions? Furfural, benzyl and thionyl methyl. Any other substitution cannot be substituted in the second position amine group. Okay, but in the position of third amino group, where amine group is present at the third position, we can use variety of substitutions without affecting the optimum diuretic activity. So that is the difference between these two. Only the furfural, benzyl and thionyl methyl, it can be substituted when the amine group is present at the second position. But when it is present at the third position, we can use wide variety of substitutions. As we have told that the substitutions which can be present on two amino group, they are in limited in number. So only furfuryl, benzyl and thionyl methyl derivatives can be present. Okay. So depending upon this one, there are two substitutions which are present, that is the furfural substitution which is present in the furosemide and the azosemide. As we have told that at first position acidic group is must, but it can be replaced by tetrazole ring. So in azosemide this acidic group at the first position, it is replaced with the tetrazole ring. Okay. Another examples, basic on 3 amino benzoic acid, that is the substitution which are present at the third position. So this is one of the substitution. Alkyl substitution are present here. The nitrogen, it is present in the form of cyclic structure. So it is bumetanide. This is the one of the example. This is pyritanide. So it is not our for there for our syllabus, but this structure is there for our. So the next class of the side 2 diuretics, that is the phenoxyacetic acid derivatives, that is ethacrynic acid. Okay, the example is the ethacrynic acid. So this is the structure 2 comma 3 dichloro. So 2 3 dichloro, 1 oxobutyl phenoxyacetic acid. So this is phenoxy group, CH2COH is the acetic acid. So this is called as phenoxyacetic acid. In the last part of diuretics, that is the osmotic diuretics. So as the name indicates, these osmotic diuretics based on the principle of osmosis. So they increase the density of filtrate, and if density of filtrate increases, they prevents reabsorption of water. So the water remains in the urine, it will not undergo reabsorption into the blood. Similarly, they can increase the sodium and chloride excretion instead of their reabsorption. So there are some features of these osmotic diuretics. First one, passively filter. Second one, it limited reabsorption. They are inert and pharmacologically and metabolically, and they have high degree of water solubility. So they produces the osmotic pressure, they increases the density in the urine, hence their reabsorption of water and different ions, it is impossible or it is difficult for them to undergo reabsorption process. So they inhibit the reabsorption of water and sodium. They are inert and they are given intravenously. They increases the osmolarity of blood and renal filtrate. These are some points regarding osmotic diuretics. They also produces the effect on convoluted tubules and the descending loop of Henle, where actually the permeation for water is there. So they inhibit this permeation. So the water remain as it is into the urine, and it will not undergo reabsorption process. As the result, the volume of urine increases. So mannitol, it is one of the example. This is the structure. It is a prototype for osmotic diuretics. It is D-mannitol. Another example, isosorbide. This is the another example which comes under the osmotic diuretics.